A mother grizzly stands in a cold river somewhere in the Canadian wilderness. The water pushes against her legs, salmon flash beneath the surface, and behind her, two small cubs stumble across the stones. They are clumsy, fragile, and completely dependent on her. Every movement she makes seems to say the same thing: stay close, stay behind me, survive. This is the version of nature we want to believe in. A mother protecting her young. A wild animal softened by the presence of its babies. A brutal world, briefly interrupted by tenderness. But then the image changes. A large male appears at the edge of the scene. He is not hunting salmon. He is not looking at the mother. He is looking at the cubs. And if he gets close enough, he may kill them. Not because they are prey from another species. Not because he is confused. But because they are young, vulnerable, and not his. This is one of the darkest behaviors in the animal kingdom: infanticide. The killing of infants by members of the same species. It shocks us because it seems to break the deepest rule of life. We assume the purpose of nature is to protect the next generation. Mothers feed their young. Birds build nests. Wolves protect pups. Whales carry calves through open water. So why would an animal kill the very future of its own species? Is this a failure of instinct? A moment of madness? A glitch in the system? The terrifying answer is no. In many cases, infanticide is not a mistake. It is not insanity. It is evolution doing mathematics without mercy. To understand it, we have to return to something we already know about young animals. Baby animals often carry signals that trigger care: large eyes, round faces, soft bodies, helpless cries. Scientists call this baby schema. These traits can activate protective impulses in adults, even across species. But baby schema is not a magic shield. Nature is not sentimental. A cute face can influence behavior, but it does not cancel hunger, territory, competition, or reproduction. Inside the brain of a wild animal, more than one system is running at the same time. One system may respond to helplessness. Another responds to threat. Another responds to food. Another responds to reproductive opportunity. And in the harshest moments, the reproductive system can win. That is where genetic investment comes in. For an animal, offspring are not only babies. They are the future of a bloodline. They are energy, risk, time, protection, milk, meat, territory, and survival chances compressed into a living body. If the young animal carries your genes, protecting it may help your genetic future continue. But if it carries another male's genes, the calculation changes. To human morality, this sounds monstrous. But evolution does not think in moral language. It rewards behaviors that increase reproductive success, even when those behaviors look horrifying from the outside. The most famous example is the lion. When a new male lion takes over a pride, the cubs already there are often not his. They belong to the previous males. If those cubs continue nursing, the females may not become fertile again for a long time. But if the cubs are killed, the females can return to reproductive conditions sooner. So, the new male may kill the cubs. Not because he hates them. Not because he is evil. Because their existence delays his chance to pass on his own genes. This is the cold logic of infanticide. The cub is not seen as innocence. It is seen as another male's investment occupying the future. And the females know the danger. Lionesses may defend their cubs fiercely. They may hide them. They may fight. But a new male can be powerful, determined, and surrounded by the brutal pressure of his own short reproductive window. A male lion may only control a pride for a limited time. In that window, every month matters. Every cub that is not his becomes part of the cost. This is not a broken system. It is a system working exactly as evolution built it. And lions are not alone. Chimpanzees, our close relatives, have also been observed killing infants. Sometimes this happens within a community. Sometimes it occurs during boundary patrols and attacks involving neighboring groups. That fact makes the behavior even more disturbing, because chimpanzees are not simple creatures. They have relationships, politics, alliances, memory, and emotion. They comfort. They cooperate. They grieve. And yet, under certain social pressures, they can also kill the young. In some cases, infant killing may be linked to mating competition. In others, it may be connected to territory, resources, or attacks between groups. The exact reasons can vary, and scientists are careful not to reduce every case to one explanation. But the pattern still forces us to face something uncomfortable. Intelligence does not erase violence. Social complexity does not erase brutality. A species can have tenderness and still carry the capacity for extreme aggression. The same brain that can bond can also calculate. The same hand that can groom can also kill. In North America, the same darkness appears in bears. A mother grizzly with cubs lives under constant pressure. She must find food, avoid humans, teach her cubs, and protect them from predators. But one of the greatest threats may come from her own species. Adult male bears can kill cubs. In some cases, the behavior may be connected to mating opportunity. If a female loses her cubs, she may become available to breed again sooner. In other cases, especially in harsh environments, cubs may also become food. This is part of the nightmare of the northern wilderness. A mother bear may lead her cubs into steep terrain, dense forest, or remote valleys not only to avoid people, but to avoid males. She may change her movement patterns. She may stay alert for scent, sound, and distance. Her life becomes a constant calculation of danger. And in the Arctic, polar bears reveal an even colder version of the same truth. Adult male polar bears have been observed killing and consuming cubs or dependent young. In a world of ice, hunger, and long distances, the boundary between reproductive competition and food can become brutally thin. To humans, a cub is something that should be protected. To a hungry or sexually competing male, the cub may represent something else entirely, a rival's genes. A barrier to mating. A source of calories. A small body carrying the wrong future. This is where human language begins to fail. We call it cruel. We call it evil. We call it murder. But those are human moral categories. They describe our reaction, not necessarily the animal's inner world. This is where the idea of qualia becomes important, the raw, subjective feeling of being a creature in its own body, inside its own reality. What does a male lion experience when he approaches cubs that are not his? What does a male bear experience when he detects a mother with young? What does the mother experience as she senses him getting closer? We can study the behavior. We can measure hormones, track movement, record outcomes, and build evolutionary models. But we cannot fully enter the inner life of the animal. There may be no guilt inside that male. No concept of crime. No word for innocence. Only pressure. Drive. Competition. Opportunity. A nervous system shaped by millions of years of survival and reproduction. And that is what makes nature so difficult to look at honestly. It is not good. It is not evil. It is not a children's story where mothers are pure, predators are villains, and babies are always protected. Nature is a field of competing strategies. The same world that creates tenderness also creates violence. The same evolution that gives a mother the courage to fight for her cubs gives a male the drive to remove another male's offspring. The same animal kingdom that shows us grief, empathy, and family also shows us infanticide. That contradiction is not outside nature. It is nature. A killer whale can carry her dead calf for days. An elephant can touch the bones of a lost family member. A wolf can protect pups in a den. And a male lion can kill cubs that are not his. All of these things can exist in the same world because evolution does not care about emotional consistency. It cares about what survives long enough to continue. That does not mean we should become numb to it. The horror we feel is real. The sadness is real. The instinct to protect the young is real. But if we want to understand the wild, we have to stop forcing it into human categories. Infanticide is not a glitch in nature. It is one of its darkest equations. A calculation written in hunger, sex, territory, time, and genes. And perhaps that is the most unsettling truth. The wild is not brutal because it has failed to become moral. It is brutal because every living thing inside it is trying not to disappear. Every mother guarding her cubs. Every male fighting for his genetic future. Every infant born into a world that may love it, feed it, ignore it, or destroy it. Nature is a magnificent paradox. It can create devotion so powerful that a mother risks death for her young. And it can create competition so cold that another animal ends that young life without hesitation. Not because the wild is broken, but because the wild has only one ancient command: continue. At any cost.